Welcome to the CPTM Smart Partners Hub in London. And today is 14th of February 2017. And probably I'll end up our message today with the significance of 14th of February. But one of the main message that my colleagues on the board, Tanshi Omar as we call it, and all the colleagues on the CPTM board would like to send to all the CPTM Smart Partners is that the highlights of the many activities that took place in a very integrated fashion and in a most inspired way in relation to leveraging the knowledge and the value of knowledge and data, which has been promoted since the beginning of January up to now, is of a very great value in itself. And there are not very many frameworks, international networks of networks, frameworks, who have been able to achieve this synchronization and evidence of what can take place in the countries that require to level the leveraging of the value of data which is taking place in a most spectacular way in the northern countries. In fact, the CPTM Smart Partners networks with the 6 inclusion initiatives have been the main object of the discussion into a very high level briefing which took place in Kampala, as you already know, with His Excellency President Museveni, President of Uganda, CPTM Fellow and Chair of the Smart Partnership Movement. The overall CPTM strategy, as is referred to, for the 2017 and 2018 is a very ambitious strategy, not of CPTM as an organization, but of the 6 CPTM inclusive networks that emerged in the last 7 years or so. And the reason why there is a lot of emphasis on developing very rapidly a program around leveraging the value of data through the current network infrastructure that CPTM supported to develop is because without the data matters, no government, no private sector, no university, no institutions would be able to function. And in fact, they won't even realize that. So today, I'm trying to stress once again that the elements of the overall CPTM strategy which has been developed in the last 2 weeks, including the briefing with and advice and guidance given by the chair of the Smart Partnership Movement, are the name of the game within the CPTM for the next 3 weeks or so. If the overall strategy has an implementation plan which includes within each initiative progress to be made within the network established and others to be added, as well as aiming at a get-together dialogue sometime in October, and then based on the program that emerges by then, the essence of that program to be made, to be submitted to the Commonwealth Heads of Government that will take place in 2018 in the spring in UK. So if attention is being given by the core networks of each initiative to make progress in the next 6 months, having established in the next 3 weeks or so a program. If that is taking place, then the benefits of not only 1 or 2 or 3 countries that are taking part in the overall strategy, but all the countries who are in the Commonwealth, 52 of them, including developed countries, will be probably able to benefit from the wisdom of these initiatives that started to develop about 7 years ago or so. It's extremely essential to develop not only and to evidence not only successes of the implementation of this program, but also problems that may arise. And for that reason, I've been including today a reminder by the physicist Philip Ball, who is specialized in networks, including a number of other issues in science, in which he is saying that the value of null results or negative results is even more important to be evidenced and to be reported than the value of successful results. He's questioning that if there is no result, there is no problem. If there is no result and there is a problem, and there is a problem to be still resolved. So, the program that is being shaped up, it will take a different form, and it will be an integrated form of implementation different from the past. Now, of course, the implementation of this strategy will be shaping up the cooperative framework of networking activities overall, not just the initiatives, for the 2017-2018. For that purpose, the hub, CPTM hub itself, and probably following that, the hubs which exist or the hubs which may emerge in the countries where the initiatives will be very active. The hub itself goes through a rehash of the way it connects the networks. And the aim is to probably realize that in the last few years, the CPTM hub was actually a hub of hubs, as we all know, and it was what is called within the financial sector lately, and that's about a month ago or so, is a super hub. CPTM is a super hub, and it became a super hub in the last few years. But the realization that CPTM is a super hub means that a reorganization has to take place, and a recasting of the whole modus operandi will need to adapt to the overall strategy of implementation. The resources related to a CPTM super hub obviously are required to be in place in a different mode than they were made to be available in 1995 when the CPTM has been set up by the Commonwealth Heads of Government in New Zealand. So for that reason, a CPTM super hub to support the CPTM for the leveraging value of data, knowledge and value of data, will require to emerge in the next few months. And similarly to that, super hubs will need to also emerge in the countries where 6 or more or less than 6 but more than 1 initiatives are being implemented. More about this in the next 3 weeks or so, when we receive a feedback from those that have been approached already in the network to give their ideas about how to move ahead. Nevertheless, I don't think the time is there to reflect too long. So if you look, for instance, at the rapid development of the digital landscape, it's very, very obvious that every day and every week and every month the CPTM structure, the CPTM networks and the initiatives, if they do not keep up with applications of within the digital landscape, they will be lagging and difficult to actually catch up in the applications, for instance, in relation to national statistics, quality and standards and blockchain, data science, financial inclusion with all the various digital financial technology applications, which are already in place, although we were only discussing about the possibility of considering proof of concepts last year in September in our CPTM paper to the Ministers of Finance. I have been in Uganda, in Kampala. Very interesting that although the smart 29ers, one would have expected that they are well ahead of anybody else, the governor of the bank and everybody else. It looked like while we were discussing in relation to, we had discussion in relation to the Smart 29er forthcoming annual teleconference, which will take place next week, to which everybody is invited. There were about 3 or 4 Ugandans who heard about the fact that we were there and have seen in on the YouTube and also through the networks that we are having a discussion about CPTM involvement in data. So there were about 3 or 4 of them, of individuals whom we didn't know and nobody knew them, who came to say, we are specialized in OneCoin, we are specialized in blockchain, we are specialized in Uganda, in cryptocurrency. Now, what does that tell us is that the developments and the networks that disseminate these developments and the interest that is taking place is being disseminated with a very high speed. So it cannot wait. Therefore, the CPTM proposal for the overall strategy for leveraging data, knowledge and data, has a very important and very rapid speed requirement for the networks to take advantage of what has happened up to now. I have included in the email a chart which shows you how quickly one after the other developments and how interconnected they are, and why there is such a rapid lateral dissemination of the digital landscape is amazing. You just try to study this curve and you will see what I mean. For that reason, I suppose, the decision making actually associated with issues of this nature is changing, and it's not very clear if it is a right decision making, but there are actually big dreams everywhere, and also there is a rejection of those buzzwords that usually are being used in decision making, like again I'm including you from the Nature journal, a reference to decision making algorithms which put aside buzzwords such as those that we're still using, probably ourselves, like frameworks, roadmaps, moonshots, in relation to mega projects of the kind that we have. Do please check the language that we're using and try to make it as meaningful and real time as possible. The obviously geopolitical situation that is taking place has a great impact on also on all the developments. Just to say that, for instance, in UK, only last week, following probably the various developments in relation to which were impacted by Brexit, the government set up a new science mega funder, and this new science mega funder, as an organizational framework, is called UK Research and Innovation Council. Now, it happens that the UK Research and Innovation Council, which is going to be shaped this year in 2017, and again, that is a signal for how relevant is the CPTM strategy on leveraging knowledge and data and the value of data, is going to be headed by the current chief scientist, Sir Mark Walport, and that is also extremely significant. What is also significant is that we understand that the UK government, being host of Commonwealth Heads of Government in 2018 in the spring, they are interested in trying to promote the knowledge and data and science. So therefore, even more so, very relevant, the overall strategy of CPTM. Nevertheless, I will end up of saying that politics and science, as we know, are usually a toxic combination, so we have to watch what is taking place, as well as to watch what the future of the international system as is developing, because at the moment one can only, as the Foreign Affairs front page says, questions, is the future, is the international system out of order? But these are good reflections, because while reflections are taking place and critiques, new emerging strategies are also taking place. And finally then, wish all the Valentines, as in United Kingdom where Valentine is being celebrated, wish them all the best, and in case tomorrow you are somehow you missed chocolate heart, here it is, as well as every Valentine in the CPTM Smart Partners group. All the best and see you next week.